altered world. My name is Pawan Sriram and co-founder and CEO at LearnEngage. We had a very interesting first of its series about 2 months ago. We were talking about gender diversity in altered world in the context of policy development and how policy inclusion itself can become an accelerator for women development and engagement, and how a lot of companies are proactively putting in policies to not only attract more women into work but also engage them at the workplace. Today, we will touch upon a very interesting topic in the new normal, where we talk about how technology can accelerate gender diversity and promote a culture of inclusivity and promote a culture of engaging more women at the workplace. Now, if you all know, despite women constituting more than 30% of junior level employees at many of the IT companies, the numbers at the top are abysmal. When I was reading a 2020 report of NASSCOM in the month of April, I don't know how much of it would have changed. It estimates that 80% of its member companies have less than 10% women in the senior management positions, and 65% have less than 10% women in middle management and IC levels. Now, women who decide to raise a family perhaps have the most daunting cultural roles to perform. And the foremost being that the perfect doting mother. I mean, for all women with little support systems, and that has been the situation even today. The joy of motherhood comes at a cost of their careers, and I believe some of it is quite true. But the good news is that many technology firms, who are the real ambassadors of workplace diversity today, and we're talking specifically of technology companies there, have put in place robust processes to end this brain drain to cultural demands. From rolling out special initiatives to building a community support system within the organization to launching learning modules, mentoring programs, the tech industry has, I believe, successfully built a model of talent retention and engagement, though we have a lot of time to go and really put it in practice across the organization and make it a template that a lot of startups and mid-level companies can leverage from. Today, I have on my panel a very interesting lineup of senior, experienced technology and HR leaders. Thank you again for all of you to join me on this 40-minute chat that we're going to have and deliberate some of these issues that you've personally been observing and experiencing and heard from the network around you. So let me introduce my first panelist, Samidata Kadur Shivaram. Also known as Sam, she's on the leadership team of a tech firm. She heads digital transformation at Maverick. She's also pursued women leadership from IIM Calcutta and is a Chevening Crisp Fellow 2020 in the University of Oxford. Proud mom of two, Samidata chases the mythical work balance, like she calls, like every other woman. Thank you so much, Samidata, for joining us today. Interesting to have you on this panel.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Next on my panel, I have Sangeeta Ponappa. Sangeeta heads recruitment and talent acquisition at SLK. She comes with 2 decades of experience in the talent acquisition function, and her experience covers globally reputed product and IT services companies. She's also been rated one of the top 15 women HR leaders in Asia for her strong mentoring and stakeholder management. Thank you, Sangeeta. We look forward to talking a lot about your hiring and talent acquisition practices that can make a more women-friendlier workplace. Sangeeta, do I have you there?
I am here. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Okay, thank you so much.
Just wondering if I had you. Okay. All right. So my third panelist, Neha Agarwal, heads alliances and sales for CMS IT. She's a sales and alliance expert by profession, collaborator by passion, and is on a mission to support 1 million women on their career journey. She comes with 18 years of technology experience across SaaS, PaaS, hybrid cloud, and automation, out of which 5 years has been in managing product and portfolios, ecosystems for global SIs and sell-through businesses. She's been has dabbled in verticals of BFSI, government, enterprise, healthcare, and IT. She's been the #1 performer in building alliances, ecosystems, and partnerships at work, and adding a lot of value in helping taking non-performing alliances and making them work. Thank you, Neha. We have spoken to you before. You're also a part of the Lean-In network in Bangalore, so you have a lot of things to talk about from the network that you built and grown and been a part of.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Next on my panel, I have Saujanya Vishwanath. Saujanya Vishwanath is the co-founder at PinkLadder. We're also co-organizing this event. We have curated together. Saujanya comes with about 2 decades of experience in the sales and marketing. She's created award-winning campaigns, setting up and growing marketing functions for leading brands like TCS, Wipro, and Accenture globally. She's also a guest speaker at leading colleges and women networks, which has motivated more women to break the norm and follow the heart. For all of you who know PinkLadder, basically they are a career enhancement ecosystem for women. They work with organizations and individuals to help them formulate goals, identify challenges, develop strategies, and coach them, helping them create a very diverse workforce. They work with some of the largest MNCs and startups on women transformational journeys. A quick brief about me. At Learning Edge, we've been working with several organizations over the last 7 years, helping them improve training efforts and helping them apply those learnings on the job with a combination of mentoring, technology, and online sessions across leadership, sales, communication, hospitality, and human resources. So women development is an area that I'm very passionate about, and we've been working with a lot of women leaders as a part of our leadership sessions, where we ourselves taken them through a leadership journey, not only helping them learn themselves, but also helping them work with clients and teams across the company. So a big warm welcome to all of you today on this panel. Given the time that we have, I want to basically cover about 3 themes. The first one being gender diversity impacting culture in pure play technology companies. 2, how are we looking at career progression for women, especially in the mid-career, given that we've seen a lot of stagnation, we've seen a lot of people volunteering to move out of their careers because of family and other issues. Obviously, the new normal, it's definitely been come in the forefront. And 3, I want to, obviously, I'm very curious to look out for opportunities that companies are leveraging today to use technology to engage more women professionals, both at hiring women in companies and also engaging them as they work in the workplace. And obviously, new normal, completely everything's gone virtual. So we look forward to hear from you and saying, what are the opportunities? How can we improve that? What can we do? And as a panel, how can we voice our opinions, bring in our feedback, talk more about other corporates and women listening here. So let me, look at, let me talk to Neha. And I think I want to start with you, Neha. You've been working with a lot of, alliances, which I mean, you also have been talking to a lot of clients. You've observed a lot of, your network doing a lot of work. How does culture play a very important role? What do you mean by culture? When we talk about culture, what are those aspects that companies need to look for today when you want to look at gender diversity as a very inclusive option?
So, very good morning to everybody. I would not go in the academic definition of what is happening, but I will tell you a small story to tell you what culture means and what impact it has. For many years in our organization, the sales review rhythm has been 9 a.m. sharp on Friday. And be it Holi, Diwali, or rainy day or summer, it does not change. We all of us connect sharp at 9 o'clock, and it's sacrosanct. But in this pandemic time, um, the senior leadership observed that we all are stressed, especially women are more stressed because kids are at home. Schools were also not open that time. And first time ever, the call was moved from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And they said, if you have some critical things to take care of, we are giving you 1 extra hour. And if that is also not comfortable, you come back to us, what time would work? And that 1 hour made a huge difference. And things became much more structured. And we started with that. It was extremely difficult to get people to work. There was uncertainty. The mindset was not right. So we suggested to have a daily call. Weekly call was not working because we were not meeting. And daily call, even 10 o'clock was tough personally for me because I stay in a big joint family. And I said that, with no help, I am not able to log in at 10 o'clock. So I am the only lady in the team. But because I had a problem, it was changed to 10:30. So every day we would log in at 10:30 and on Fridays at 10 o'clock. So this is what culture can do to an individual. It really helped me to cope with that situation. The culture changed and one person also makes a difference.
Right. Sangeeta, one thing I believe is that culture is a very big component of the way you hire people. I think people who that you hire across levels. A recruitment team does a great job of instilling that culture, be it in an interview, be it in a offer letter that you make, be it in a conversations that you have. So, how are you seeing this culture being driven as a part, as the recruitment team, the hiring team, the business? What is the language that you've been talking to them?
So typically, Pawan, one good part, or I don't know if I've been lucky in that matter for that, in this particular topic, we've actually gone all out to educate our business leaders, top down, from the level 1 manager to the top. I mean, top, we always have the support. So that's one thing, which is like, one big obstacle which is out of the way. There is especially coming across from mid-sized to larger IT services companies, all from top down, there is a right direction given in terms of how are you going to make diversity your core KRA, in terms of getting the right mix of, especially from an India context, with the gender diversity, right? So we looked at it from a top-down standpoint. But when it comes to middle management, we had to do a lot of work because, when you look at it from a services organization standpoint, we work all hours. Our customers are mostly in the US, UK, and European-based customers are still manageable. US is absolutely other way around time zones, right? Despite that, we've managed to convince our line managers to say that, hey, you should have a mix. And we made it one of their KRAs. One of their performance metrics is to see what is your mix of gender mix in your teams, right? From each level, like you rightly started, right? Our diversity percentage is at 38% in the junior levels. The minute you hit the management level 1 and above, you see them kind of depleting. Because, that is the stage when typically we women, we get married, we want to kind of settle down in one aspect in our personal lives. So a lot of women take that step, right? And unfortunately, there are such extremely talented, extremely good, female workers who make that decision. It could be personally driven, right? You may be in a joint family, you may be in a nuclear family where you're expected to stay back home. And sometimes it's we women ourselves who make the decision. Sometimes I feel it's not the family. It is us who make the decision saying, hey, you know what, let me take a break. Let me spend a year at home and then figure out what I want to do. From 20 years when I started off to where we are today, there's a huge change, right? So while we are engaging with our line managers, encouraging them to make sure that I have a mix of people. So I have given a mandate to my own team that 50% of the people whom we are interviewing have to be women. You have to bring in. It's only then I can tell my hiring managers that, I'm giving you a good mix of people. You have to make sure that you have at least 2 women in the final shortlist, and then we make the decision based on whether the person is, coming within our salary range, suitable to the role, and all that comes into play.
Right. Yeah. In fact, I have a lot, clients who also follow the rule of a blind resume. They mask the name and the gender, and basically making sure that the interview is completely unbiased when it comes to specific roles or niche businesses that women need to get hired.
Right.
And that's a great way of including women in the hiring process. And I think you beautifully said that you need to have a certain percentage in the pipeline and at an offer stage for women to be open to picking up those roles. So, Samyuta, one of the things that I've been hearing is obviously a lot of technology companies, and when they have been hiring for leadership roles, we were talking about. We expect women to code, and somebody says, I want somebody as a technical expert. We expect women to code. What are your views on having a culture in a technology company where women lead the forefront, be it in product development or being a technical evangelist? Given that when you talk about digital transformation, for most of it's a very technical sounding word. So, what are your views on that?
So that's a great question, Pavan. And the way I look at it, if you look at it, you're going to hear my son, talking in the background. I'm sorry about that. So I think the proof to that is in the fact that boys and girls enter, graduate schools, they enter engineering colleges, right? And when you look at the composition of these classrooms, it's pretty much, equal. I mean, at least in Bangalore, when I was an engineering student, I did not see too many, an imbalance in terms of the gender as such, right? The problem is not with coding or the scientific acumen of women. The problem is the expectation that comes with the job of a coder. The expectation is that you spend 18 hours, 20 hours, coding away without any break. And that is like a natural clash to, what are the societal roles that women need to play. And I think that is where women, I think I've seen a lot of women going up to probably senior coder, senior software engineer, but the minute they get into managerial or architect kind of roles, they kind of, the career path also coincides with the ladder, personally, probably that's the time that, they've gone through childbirth and all of it. It's humanly not possible to sit for 20 hours and code, right? And talking about the whole culture aspect of it, it's great that people like Sangeeta are, putting in policies where they want at least 50% of the shortlisted, applicants to be women. One challenge that I see with policies like this is that a lot of it is very cosmetic in nature, right? HR tells you need to do this, senior leadership tells you need to do this, but somehow people internally are the same. Unless you make a major mindset shift, I think a lot of our policies that we are bringing into place are going to be not so effective. So I have spoken to architects who say, I don't want women in my team. They refuse to code on a Saturday. They refuse to code on a Sunday, right? So which makes me go back to the whole thing of it's not a problem with the scientific or the STEM acumen in women, but it's more of a mindset shift. And it's the same for sales, right? Somebody like Neha, she's in sales, and I'm sure she's probably one woman out of like 20 other sales professionals there, right? And they're so inconsiderate for the kind of schedules that they have, and these roles are typically made for men. And I'm glad that a lot of women are getting into it and saying, hey, sorry, the rules of these games need to shift. So we're getting there, and discussions like this, I think, is a great beginning. But yeah, we're getting there. A lot of ground to cover.
Sure.
So Pavan, I just have one point to make here,
Yeah.
right? Sam, while I agree to you in a large, in a broader standpoint, but knowing my connects and my network in the industry, be it in organizations like Accenture or even in my own organization, my previous experiences, my current organization, it is completely different. Believe me, I work 20 hours a day straight.
Yeah.
And there is no one who told me that, you have to sit and work for 20 hours and only then you get rewarded. It is my personal decision, right? I enjoy what I do. And if you see, in our HR function, especially, diversity is skewed because it's all women.
Yeah.
I have about probably 10 people, who are the guys who want to make a career out of HR. It's usually the women, okay?
Yeah.
But technology-wise, I know there will be this small percentage of men who still come in. I've had those conversations where, very specifically, which I remember so well, is because he came to me and he said, I don't want a woman in my team. Okay, I don't want them. I'm clear. I said, there is no question of you saying you don't want. I'm going to give you only women and you're going to hire a woman and I'll make sure that she's made successful here. Right?
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I had to really push through, except for that one person. Believe me, there are people who are so open to listening.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think, and I'll tell you, after all my experiences, I have my own team members who come and tell me, you know what, today I have to take my son for a dental appointment. And I'm like, okay, just, go on. It's not because you're a mother, you're taking him. Father can also take, and there are guys from my team who tell me that.
Yeah.
It's my turn because my wife has a class. Some of them have wives who are teachers, right? And online classes. So they just tell me that, you know what, this many hours I'm not around. But because we work, we stretch, we are completely flexible.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter to me if you don't turn up for 2 hours or a day. I know you'll anyway catch up. At the end of the day, it's about the confidence you place in your team members and the output, right? Whether you work for 4 hours or 20 hours.
Yeah.
Frankly, productivity is what matters.
Absolutely.
And,
I agree
right,
with you.
In our organization, we've actually gone to the extent of where we've had women leaders, right, who come to us and say, I don't want to do delivery. I'm fine with what I'm doing, right? And these are extremely strong delivery leaders who want to take a step back. Because of, my daughter is in the 10th standard. I want to make sure that she's fine. I want to spend that time. And management has come forward and said, we'll give you the backup support. Don't take a step back now.
Yeah.
There are cases, there are situations where we people literally push through and say, what support do you need? And we'll make it happen. Like very similar to Neha, right?
Yeah.
I think the good part is that product organizations have huge policies in place and they make a huge success of it. And I've seen it personally happening. Mid-sized companies like SLK, CMS, we actually go out of our way and make sure that our employees are comfortable because we want to make them successful. It is not just it's not a tick on my board which says, you know what, I'm great with diversity. It is not that. While that is a target that I have to achieve, and I think as we grow as leaders, what becomes more important for us is to make this successful. It's not about counting, whether I have 10 women leaders in my organization.
True.
It's about, are the 10 women happy with what they do?
Correct.
And am I equipping them to make them successful?
Correct.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. In fact, Sangeeta, you did speak about salary parity as well yesterday.
Yes.
When you were trying to do a debrief, and you said how there is a culture of complete parity, especially when it comes to the CTC, and you ensure as a hiring head that you don't want to negotiate with women who come and take a break. And then the roles, there's complete salary parity, which is a very interesting phenomenon. And like I said, it's a culture of inclusivity.
Absolutely.
And Samyuktha put it up so well. I think in fact she summarized all of that we were trying to talk about today as a part of culture. And when I kind of hear you all, I also want to talk about the culture of empathy. Today, empathy is such a strong word in the new normal, and we're asking every manager or leader to say that can you learn and empathize with your teams, given that everybody is working virtually. But empathy was something that was existent with women even 2 decades ago, and I think women are having an attitude towards being empathetic towards everyone, and just not in the workplace. Now, moving on, and I want to have Saujanya
Pavan,
share.
yeah, Pavan, if I could just add to what you said about empathy. The fact of the matter is that there's been so much social conditioning for women to play the nurturing, empathetic role. And we do not spend that much time on our sons and our boys and taught them to be empathetic and nurturing. In
Yes,
fact, if that changes, then you'll see a lot more men who are equally empathetic and nurturing. And it is not based on gender, really. It is really to do with conditioning, social conditioning that we
absolutely.
get.
Yeah.
And before you go on to the next question, Sangeeta, I'm really, really glad that you're doing what you're doing. And I really wish more companies had, HR managers and leaders like you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I want to add to that viewpoint, and I'm really, really heartened to hear the fact that you even ensure salary parity. And I wish tribe like yours, they grow larger.
Thank
Yes.
you so much. Thank you. And it's not just me. I think, our team, the HR team here, I've seen that no one talks about salary, especially while making a decision on offer or compensation. It is never based on gender. It's purely performance.
Right. So, Saujanya, I basically wanted to connect my next question with you to start with. The idea was to have you to share insights on how you are seeing clients look at career progression as a very important component. Your clients obviously you've seen have them do variety of different interventions, programs across all levels, and here I want you to share some of those interesting either campaigns or programs that you've been a part of, where PinkLadder has observed the way companies have looked at career progression for mid-career women professionals. Especially if you look at it, there are two schools of thought today that I believe. One is, businesses are saying that, hey, like Sangeeta said, the other said, we don't want women in leadership roles because obviously there are business challenges. But on the other hand, Samyuktha beautifully put it and said that there is a complete balance of more than 50% of the women getting into IT organizations to make themselves a career. So when do you see this balance coming in? And for women professionals, especially in their late 30s or early 40s, what are we seeing as business leaders?
Okay, so there's a two sides to this coin, right? What we've seen is at one level, there's a very, very strong woman in the leadership who's driving it, or there's a good a good male ally to this whole diversity agenda. But it's largely usually what we've seen from our personal experience when there's been a strong woman leader. And if there's already a lot of women leaders within an organization. Sangeeta mentioned Accenture. Having worked in Accenture, yes, there's a lot of push. And if you notice, the diversity ratios in Accenture are very high. So in companies like that, you see, or even if we take Titan as an example, fabulous number of women across all levels within the organization, and some really amazing campaigns. At one point, we worked with Titan on their storefront employees, usually not a strata of employees that a lot of companies pay attention to, but they wanted more women to start taking up the responsibility of running a store. What they found is, as saleswomen, they were fantastic. They outperforming the men. But when the roles opened up to run the store, very few women were stepping up. And what they decided to do was not go by the book and say, okay, we will give you soft skills or we'll coach you on this. We worked with a mix of coaching and family counseling also, because a lot of them did not have, like in Bombay, you don't have that much as an issue. Go to any other town, store managers will work long hours, they work festivals, so you need to bring their families on board. So we were working with them to try and get an ally within the family to be there, to fight for their cause, so that they are understood to have doing really good at their work and get that kind of respect, so that they have the support system to start taking it up. So you have clients at one end who are like that, and then you find a lot of, unfortunately and very depressingly for both Karthik and me, when we're fighting this fight, we find a lot of other companies where it's just a tick mark. They'll say, come do a panel discussion, go. And then we always try and push a anonymous kind of a research within their organization to see where they're standing. And while it's shocking for them to see that, it's not as hunky-dory, but you still find a lot of tick marks that happen. And we do that because we have to keep chiseling away at it to try and make a mark. So that's why, when we come across HR leaders and women leaders who are pushing for a much more diverse agenda within their organizations and are willing to walk the walk, it does make a lot of difference for us.
Neelam, it's interesting, the way that you have a network of women leaders, and we spoke about, the goal of you achieving, that 1 million where you would like to transform. What have you been seeing, especially the new normal? Where is this needle moving?
So here I got very interesting views. One Sam said, and one Sangeeta said, and I kind of agree with both. What Sam said, right? When you have to work for so many hours, and when you have a progression, a typical answer comes that you are not able to travel so much, or you can't work for long hours. So in the bell curve, actually people want women to be there, and a lot of these reasons are given. And women ourselves, I don't complain about the management. We ourselves are also very happy and contented at one point in time to just do our work, whatever is assigned to us, and be in that bell curve, in the centerpiece. So to move to a leadership level, as Saujanya said, that either you should be a very strong leader, or you should have an ally, or you should have one particular skill which nobody else has. Only these three things will push you there, and in the background, your family support. So if these things are not there, this progression cannot happen. And with the communities that I work with, I see either women getting complacent, or I see lack of support, and also I see past struggles. See, if I've struggled in past, when I want to take up a future role, I will be scared. And this is what had happened to me. When I had become a mother, I struggled like anything. First child, the struggle was X. Second child, the struggle was 11X. 1 plus 1 is not 2, it is 11.
I agree with you.
And I was so troubled that when I had to take a senior management role, I was saying no all the time. I would not even turn up for interviews. I was that scared in heart and heart. And that is when I approached Saujanya. That is when I approached Karthik. And I approached a lot of mentors. And I realized that that fear is deeply seated in my heart. I've struggled so much that I'm scared that a bigger role will be bigger struggle. So I had to transform my own mindset. And that is when I decided that if being so educated and having a very good family background, if I am so much worried, and if I am struggling within, there'll be so many other women struggling. And that is when I started community initiative. And that is where people come. It's a safe space. People speak up. So many issues we can't even speak in public.
Absolutely.
It's very personal to us.
Yeah.
And it just happened. Nobody's intention was bad. The manager's intention was not bad. The family's intention was not bad. Right. But things just happen. So we need a space where women are able to speak, seek support, and move forward.
Right.
And as you go upwards, this is my personal experience, life becomes better. You get more support. When you're in the bottom of the pyramid, the support is less, and it is very easy for people on top to crumple you down, be it in family or in organization. But as you move forward, you have better visibility of your work, and you get more support. And this visibility comes with a price tag. If you goof up also, the visibility is that big. So you have to perform all the time, but you get more support.
Right.
May I add to what Neha said?
Yeah.
What we find is that when we get that safe space, right? When we get small groups of women in a safe space to talk to each other, and then you find that, you know what, a lot of your struggles are what a lot of other women are also struggling with. And when you get a lot of comfort from knowing how they handled it. You get ideas on how they handled it. And then, so that community support, that network support that women need to build with each other is very important. Sangeeta may have figured out a way of handling something, or Sam might have figured out a way of handling something, which might help Neha and me to do it.
Yeah.
So it is extremely important that we create those support systems.
In fact, Saujanya, if you look at it in the last, few months to what was there before it, the water cooler conversations or the smoke breaks that men would tend to have, and they would network with each other, get work done. They would set up these calls and all of that. And I think that has drastically changed, and the mindset towards networking has changed. But what you said is so true, because women work with their peers very well, because they have somebody to go and talk to, they have somebody to go, to have this issue, be it both personal and professional. And I think organizations, if they are able to build communities at large, where they're having women mentors, and I think that's why I believe mentoring programs works very well for women leadership development. That I would urge companies to look forward to, putting together. And I think the more successful the mentoring program is, I think the larger the impact and larger the scale. Now, Sangeeta, when we talk about career progression, I would want you to give us your insights on how you're seeing it outside organizations. Obviously, you hire people who've taken a break, and I think this is going to continue in the next year or two till things come to normal. How are you, or how do women view hiring as far as a break in the career is concerned? I'm at 35, 36, let's say I have 2 kids, I want to come back, I've been a great leader, I've been a great technical architect. How is this viewed in an organization today?
So what we've done is, honestly, coming from, I think, almost all of us on this call at least, right? As women, we all, at least the 4 of us, we've crossed about 20 years of experience, right? Coming from where we used to be, where I was terrified. I just have one daughter, she's 17. And when I had her, right, I took a 2-month break and I was back at work, and that was quite traumatizing at that stage, because a lot of society pressures, right? Okay, you're going back to work, you have such a young baby at home, why are you doing it, right? So those questions coming to today, right? Things have so drastically changed. Companies are actually coming forward and saying, hey, it's okay, you know what? This whole gender acceptance, saying that we want a mix of people, where you see, women with our own emotional sensitivity, which we bring into a very, stiff or a practical world which a man lives in, right? And there is a very good mix of our thought process between a man and a woman which come in. So companies are opening up so well to these kind of things, where we are actually publishing, saying we are actually coming up and asking the women we hire, and I give a additional incentive to my recruiters who are actually bringing in women leaders. Anybody who's coming in joining us as a manager and above, I'm actually recognizing them, saying, hey, you know what, you've done a good job here.
Interesting.
If you look at any organization, the numbers also kind of dwindle, right, as you go up in the manager roles. It's not like you're going to hire 10, 20 managers in a month. It's just about a handful of them. But if in that handful of people, if you're going to get about 50% women, 60% women, and it doesn't matter, you're coming from a break, no questions asked. Why you took a break is completely your personal decision. Right? It could be because, and again, I strongly believe in one aspect. Don't ask a woman, did you take a break because you had a child? I took a break because I felt like it. Right? It doesn't matter why I took you. You don't need to ask me those questions. I'm just going to evaluate you on your capability and bring you in. Right? And then we've also interviewed those women, brought them into a show, where we have sessions with larger, earlier it used to be very women-centric, all women come together. Then we said, no, we want the men there. We want them to hear about women. Because sometimes, the managers are men, and they're happy that they've given that environment to the woman in their team, that she's comfortable. Right? They need to hear it too. So we actually got them all in, and we get them to speak and say, what worked for them, and what kind of, what can they talk to their juniors, right? The younger ones who are coming into the stream. who are in that threshold where do I continue with my career? Do I need to take a break at this point? So they get to hear all these women,
Sure.
right? So we just don't ask questions. We just let you,
Absolutely.
if you want to apply for a job, please apply for a job and you will be hired based on your capability. No questions asked.
Absolutely. No, I think I agree with you because a lot of companies are trending towards what they call as pre-interview orientation. And given the kind of women who take a break, like you said, an orienting a woman leader or a woman a woman being hired for a technical role, it's very important to make her comfortable and tell her that, well, there is really no bias and we are not inclined towards, knowing about your personal issues, why you took a break and why you want to come back. So I think for me, it's a great learning. And if companies have an orientation before an interview and companies can help women understand that, we are inclusive, we can understand what is the issue and completely make it fair and transparent and have that parity, like you said, both in terms of the interview process and in the offer that you make. So I move on to my third theme for the day. And Sam, we spoke about this earlier, and I do want to have you share more of your insights. Technology is big leveler. Even the meetings like we're doing now, to engaging employees, to getting products or things delivered. Digital transformation is a big thing. So Sam, how do you see technology being an enabler for engaging more women, attracting them, retaining them, working closely with them, making sure that there is a very fair structure across the hierarchy?
Great question, Pavan. And I think technology is the way forward, right? And the fact that, all of us are able to, come here, attend this particular meeting in the middle of a pandemic itself is one of the greatest enablers that we have right now. So I think one great thing this pandemic did is it convinced people that people can stay at home and still do their work and deliver, right? They need not stay under your nose all the time. For instance, if I need to attend my child's recital, I go do it, come back and catch up at work, or it could be a school meeting. I need not be physically present in front of the team 24 hours. So that is one great thing that happened. The other great enabler that I see is networking, right? And professional networking, platforms such as LinkedIn. I think it does great things, gives you the kind of visibility that you need, or women kind of seek. And it's like and that's a representation that you want. You're in control of the image that you want to portray about yourself and the work that you have worked, and whatever you want to talk about your work. The third thing that I see is, plain analytics, right? Technology enabled analytics. I think it's really, really important. It gives you the kind of insight as to, how many women are entering, how many women kind of like, what's the attrition rate, at which level, where is it that you need some kind of an intervention. A lot of such data backed up decisions are possible via technology. So it's definitely the way to take it forward and to go ahead. No two things about it.
How is Neha? My question will obviously come back to you, given that you kind of building that network. What kind of technologies are you seeing? I mean, is there a trending towards AI? Are we trending towards something else? Well, just because it's a hot topic, or you think, well, technology is not the way to go? Is it hampering our way of developing women? Are people coming forward to embrace that kind of transformation today?
So I have a very contrary view to this. See, today technology, one side it is enabling, no doubt. We are able to work from wherever we are, and it is great to network. But on the same side, if a lady is on break, because the technology is changing so fast, she does not go on a break for 1 year. She pushes herself back 3 to 4 times in that 1 year, because so much changes in that 1 year. You can't come back. If you're on a 10 years break, you will not understand head and tail of product management. What 10 years back it was to what it is today, you're nowhere there. You leave alone, cracking an interview, you will not understand what is written in the JD. This is a hard fact today. One orientation, two orientations don't solve it. When I started my career, if I knew what a storage can do and how a storage functions, it was great. I was hired by a NetApp or IBM and I could work there. But today nobody's bothered. My storage box can be so great. What business problems I can solve? I have to speak, if I'm meeting a banking customer, I have to speak in banking language. And what can it do for the bank, how bank will transform, how their competition is doing, and how my product can make them do better than their competition is the language I need to speak. So if somebody is on a career break, technology makes it even more tough to come back. So that is reskilling and orientation of mindset, and learning very quickly is a skill that has to be developed, and that is something that is not even taught in schools.
Right.
How do you unlearn, relearn? And it is not only for people on break, it is magnified
Right.
when you are on a break.
Right.
But every day as a leader, now you have to learn, and no company will invest in that. Because too fast, they can't. Whatever was true before pandemic is completely changed. Everybody is working from home. So the entire security landscape has changed. And even if I want to teach my team, I can't. I have told, please learn yourself. And this quarter's quota has to happen. Everybody has to learn and go and sell the solutions in the market. So
Well, you spoke about skills and learning, and I think that's interesting because I probably want to have Sangeeta comment on that. Obviously, as a part of the HR team, what are your views, Sangeeta? Do you think that is something that companies are moving towards? Are we kind of not merging these two worlds together?
So Pavan, I think I completely agree with Neha to a large extent, okay, because it's a fact, right? Whether 10 years, if you have a gap of 10 years in your experience and you come back, right? There are a lot of give and takes that you do. And I think as women, we also need to be very, very honest about it, right? I may be great, I may be a rank holder or a gold medalist in my college, but if I have taken a break and I'm coming back today, which means that I have not caught up with whatever's been happening in the world. There are people who have caught up. There are people who are aware. But at the end of the day, it is left to you, right? And now, am I going to say that, you had a break of 10 years and you're coming back to work and I will take you as a general manager today? I may not. Right? I am still going to say you have 10 years of work experience. I will consider you in par with a person with 10 years of experience. Okay, and I will see whether you're going to be you're going to be a lead, or you're going to be a technical lead, or you're going to be a manager. A technical lead has a certain capabilities expected out of that person, right? You need to know how to manage teams. You need to know your communication has to be really good. You need to know how to get 10 other people to do what you're actually asking them to do.
Yes.
Right? Do you have that? If you do not have, absolutely no problem, but then I will peg you where you need to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is no cheating in the game, right? You can't.
Right.
So I will take you as a senior, senior resource, maybe senior developer, maybe, and then give you those opportunities to grow. Sure. Then it is up to the organization to provide you with that opportunity, and you as an employee to grab that opportunity.
Sure.
Right. So that is where it's going to play a lot of role. So, for example, what we are doing here is, we are actually putting out names of mentors, right? We are actually identifying people as mentors and telling them that, first training them as to what are you expected as a mentor, what is your role, right? And then tell employees that here are people whom you can nominate, you can choose your mentor. Maybe your development area is more in terms of people management, right? Or it could be in terms of technology. I want to make myself good in such a way that in the next 1 year, I put a target for myself that in the next 1 year, I want to reach here. And then the whole system has to work together to make you successful there, right? So it's not just an organization playing a role. It is about you as an individual, right? I go up to my manager and, there are times when I'm telling, I want to take more. And he's like, you're already working 20 hours, you will definitely get. And I've also had people who who are exceptionally good, who are working with me, who are reporting to me. They're older to me, women, exceptionally good. But they've taken their decisions, right? And I keep telling them that you're so good, just be at it. So it happens. It's not like, it's just about how truthful we are and how truthful our organization is in making this whole endeavor a success.
Right.
Well, I just wanted to get a word in there, and knew that you were, if I may say, flirting with the whole AI aspect of technology, and I consciously cleared away, from discussing AI. I think in matters such as an equitable workplace, I think natural intelligence has taken a beating. Right. The other thing is the whole the bias aspect of AI, and how all our bias is kind of trickling into the AI systems that we are developing, or we could be developing, and this whole conditioning can just kind of pass on. It's really important that the AI technologists, the AI scientists are working on it, are looking at it like, the thing is, if a technology or a solution is not, if it's not diverse in nature, if it's not equitable in nature, I don't think it's ethical, right? And that's what the ethical aspects of AI is doing right
Absolutely.
now. But having said that, well, definitely this is talk of the town. I would really like to park the AI aspects of it and just bring more of our natural intelligence into play. And I really love the point Sangeeta made about, let's be honest about ourselves and about our abilities, and I think it's perfectly all right if someone has taken a 10-year break and getting back. That's a great point that she made, and I do want to talk about this particular incidents that just happened last week with a friend. She was on a 9-year break, right, and she's in the Netherlands, and her husband kind of put her resume out for a director's role at a startup in the Netherlands. And she received a call that evening, and she's like, I don't know why you're calling me. Why would you want me to be a director? I've been on a break the last 9 years, right? So why would you want someone like me when you can find a better person out there? And she was hired, right? So the whole conditioning aspect were, parked, and she was just kind of assessed for her ability to even probably scale up, right? So I think that's a wonderful way of looking at a break. So that is one thing. And the other point that was made, on mentoring programs, and a lovely point in terms of, Neha mentioning as to how when you're at the lower rung of the ladder, if I may say, you have far lesser support. I think mentoring programs and career acceleration programs are very, very handy. And one common denominator of all the women panelists here, and I don't know if you realize, we all have had some kind of an association with Wipro.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and Wipro had WOW program, women of Wipro. It had acceleration programs, and that did wonderful things to our minds, right? At 1.5 years of being a techie, someone told me, hey, you know what, you're on an accelerated path. And that did fantastic things. And I think programs like that are so relevant and so fresh in my mind, even like maybe 10, 12 years later.
Pawan, just to chip in there, I think we are running late for our next session.
Yeah.
So
sure. In fact, Samyuddha is actually helping me to summarize most of what I want to say. Thanks to you. I save on, putting my head back into the conversation. But like you beautifully said, I think there is a marriage of two worlds. I think at one end, you have the skills and the learning part of women. Obviously a lot of things are, like you said, are defunct, or you need to come up and learn new technologies, be it Python or AI. On the other hand, you have corporates using technology to leverage that engagement bit. For example, today, if I didn't have a Zoom or a Team or a Slack, I would have had to connect with so many people out there, my clients or my network or my communities. But the way to marry these two worlds is to bring in, the skills and the technology together and see how we can engage and make it a, pure play leveling field. You don't want to miss out on some of those talented women. You don't want to miss out having a great technology in place. And at the same time, you want to make your investments right. So which means that you're looking at business impact. But nevertheless, I think this has been a great conversation. We've deliberated on some interesting points, right from talking about culture of inclusivity and empathy. We've spoken about career progression and some of your insights on how can mid-career women professionals accelerate their career, is some beautiful insights that you gave us. We also spoke about networking, mentoring, and again, we spoke about technology as a great leveler. Thank you so much, for giving us this time on a Thursday morning. Really, grateful that we could spend this 30 minutes, and the audience could have great takeaways. Recorded sessions will go out on LinkedIn very soon. But thank you, Saujanya, Sam, Sangeeta, Neha, and Karthik. I enjoyed my conversation and have a lot of takeaways that I can share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Once again.
Karthik, that's a
Yes,
fantastic picture to wear. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.